Hello my elven warriors. Today we're going to be making everyone's favorite fire-breathing green lizard. Not that one, or that one. It's Reptar. We're making Reptar. So starting with a piece of armature wire that is way too long and eventually going to make Reptar way bigger than I wanted him to be. I'm going to cut it to length and wrap it with definitely not enough aluminum foil. And then I begin to coat Reptar's whole body in the first of many layers of clay. After I've wrapped Reptar with the first layer of clay, I begin to wrap the armature wire that will eventually be his legs around Reptar's body, bend them to shape, and cut them to the length I need them. Now I begin to cover him in lumps of clay in an effort to cover the exposed wire. Reptar is a chunky boy with an even chunkier tail, so I'm going to chunk him up with some clay blobs. Right here I'm adding Reptar's neck, and it's pretty null and void in a minute. These two lumps of clay get blended in with the ball stylus to attempt to bulk up Reptar's dad bod. I've decided I'm using too much clay, so
I'm going to flesh him.
Using my palette knife. I'm going to add several lumps of aluminum foil to re-begin the bulking process in an effort to use less clay, because clay be expensive. His legs are two lumps of clay sliced down the middle and wrapped around the armature wire and blended into the body. Reptar's got tiny little arms. I'm going to make mine using armature wire that I wrap around him and blend through the body using clay. Then I begin to wrap his arms with clay to bulk them up, which they don't need much bulking because they're tiny T-Rex arms, but they need more bulking than what I did originally. So I'm going to add some muscles where muscles would be. He's kind of got human arms in a way. It's kind of weird. Alright, now Reptar needs a head. This one is the top of the head, and here's his bottom jaw. Begin to blend his jaw in using a ball stylus, and it's a lot of blending. Now his top head jaw piece gets blended into his neck. Begin to use the ball stylus to push in his jaw shape and make it less like a lump of clay and more like a bottom jaw. And then I begin to do the same thing but for the roof of his mouth. While using the ball stylus to press the throat holes in, the camera decided my hand was more interesting than the sculpture. Using the same ball stylus, I begin to press in an eye socket where his future eye will go. Hey look, it's the eye. His eyes are made out of pre-baked lumps of clay that I sliced in half, and his nostrils use a really small ball stylus. I think I actually went back and did this with an even smaller ball stylus, and you just poke him in the nose. His eyebrow and his cheekbones are made by taking two small lumps of clay and blending them around the eye and cheek area. Reptar has a little throat flappy thingy, so I add that on. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just following the step-by-step guide that is a picture of Reptar. Speaking of Reptar, here's his feet, which look strange if you look at the cartoon. They don't actually have, like, feet shape. They're kind of long logs that I cut toes out of, and I press the toes into shape. Slice them in half and slide them around the armature wire. I use a ball stylus that I begin to press toe holes for his toenails. Then using a flat-ish metal sculpting tool, I press the toe gaps for his toes. His hands are squares of clay that I press a ball stylus into so they have a way to slip around the wrist nub. And then I begin blending the hand into the wrist nub. His fingers are sausages of clay that I've rolled out and stuck onto the top of the hand. And then I repeat the ball stylus toenail hole technique, but this time on his fingies. And then I insert the toenails that have been pre-baked into the hole. I don't know what I'm doing here. What is that? Ah, it's his tongue. Okay, so his tongue gets cut down to size so it fits into his mouth, because that is way too big. And then I begin to shape it into a tongue shape by adding more clay on top and more blending with a ball stylus. After adding his tongue to his mouth, I use a pre-made scale tool to press in all those scales, because I don't have the patience to sculpt all those individual scales. And then I begin to add the lizard wrinkles around his joints, but just his leg joints. I got lazy. Then I blend with a ball stylus and I add some more wrinkles. And then I attempt to scale texture onto the wrinkles without flattening the wrinkle. Then using a fine edge silicone sculpting tool, I begin slicing in some extra wrinkly detail around his joints for his arms. I guess I wasn't too lazy. Then I add his pre-baked teeth to his raw gums, so he has teeth in his gum. Using a small ball stylus, I begin to trace out Reptar's back spikes onto a flat sheet of clay. Which then get cut out with my razor knife. Back to the ball stylus, I begin to press in a liney detail into Reptar's back spikes to give them more definition and more detail. Boop! To tone down the shininess of Reptar's green, I begin to dry brush all over his body because he's a shiny boy and I don't want him shiny. For Reptar's back spikes, get several coats of baby blue. His eyes are a vibrant orange with a black slit down the center, very lizard-esque. His tongue gets painted purple, painfully, slowly, and now we can do the teeth. Anyways, I think we're just about done. Anyways, everybody, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And hopefully I'll see you sooner than a month from now. Later.